wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is the show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. Look and tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's the show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is the show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is the show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will feel happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling, WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role, get where you need to. Look and tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's the show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we're dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will feel happen and dark and blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we're dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will feel happen and dark and blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not showing no matter even if you're at home. Just call in, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we're dealing. Let's find a solution, yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes, WB. And all the things that will feel happen and dark and blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place no calling, WB. Be yourself. yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obey. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role. Get where you need to. Look and tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not so it no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to obey. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obey. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play your role. Get where you need to. Look and tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not so it no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is just show my people. Believe our hopes so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to obey. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better, we got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place of calling, WUB. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize, wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up,
Welcome, this is WUB Wake Up Belize, Morning Vibes. It's a Friday morning. It's the 10th day of April 2026, and we welcome you to the program this morning. I'm Nuri Mohammed, and let's get started. We have Ms. Shanice Young from the Met Office. She'll give us an update on the weather. Shanae Young. And then we'll give you the package prepared by our news center. Ms. Young?
Good morning. Mainly fair weather conditions prevail. The 24-hour forecast is for skies to be mostly sunny today and clear to partly clouded tonight with isolated showers. High temperatures today will be 86 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 91 inland and 80 up in the hills. Low temperatures tonight will be 78 degrees Fahrenheit along coastal areas, 70 inland and 65 up in the mountains. The winds will be from the east and northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and the sea conditions will be slight. A low tide will occur at 8:59 this morning, followed by a high tide at 3:37 this afternoon. The sun rose at 5:40 this morning and will set at 6:07 this evening. The moon will set at 12:03 this afternoon and will rise at 1:32 tomorrow morning. The outlook for Saturday and Saturday night is for mainly fair weather with only isolated showers. And this concludes this morning's weather report prepared by the National Meteorological Service.
Since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news. Sports. And now, the news. The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme.
The strict conditions for the government-owned Port of Belize Limited Cargo Expansion and Cruise Port Development Project. The decision was taken at a meeting of the National Environmental Appraisal Committee, NEAC, on Holy Thursday, April 2nd. According to a public notice from the DOE yesterday, NEAC recommended approval after determining that the 2026 Environmental Impact Assessment, quote, varied significantly, end of quote, from the previous two submissions, and that a majority of the committee supported the project. The clearance comes with a long list of conditions aimed at reducing environmental and social impacts, including requirements for proper containment of suspended materials during dredging, installation of an adequate dewatering system, and long-term monitoring of the proposed mangrove island to be created from dredge spoils. NEAC also emphasized that the developer must commit to community-focused measures such as traffic management, flood avoidance, job creation, and a grievance mechanism. An environmental compliance plan will now be drafted and signed with the developer. Reports are that there was unanimous approval of the cargo expansion aspect of the project, but the NGO representative, Cynthia Usher, voted against the cruise port terminal. We requested an interview and we requested an interview, and though that was declined, we were provided with comments out the Belize coalition of NGOs submitted on April the 1st. Belize network of NGOs, Mar Alliance, ECOMAR, WWF, SEA, Fragments of Hope, the Belize Audubon Society, Oceana Belize, Tide, Jamil Galvez, and the Healthy Reefs argued that despite revisions, the EIA still fails to address core environmental risk. They noted that the proposal to create intertidal mangrove islands using dredge spoils lack the necessary geotechnical studies, settlement modeling and stability assessment. Without these, they say, quote, there is no clear evidence that the proposed island will remain structurally sound, end of quote. That raises the risk of erosion, collapse, or sediment release. The coalition argued that differing essential studies to a later phase means there was critical information missing during the approval process, and this prevents information decision-making. According to the coalition, only one previous example of such man-made island was provided, and Ecuador's and Belize's oceanographic environments are completely different. The coalition also flagged concerns about pollution, pointing to cumulative impacts from the dredge disposals and discharges from the Belize Water Services settling ponds. They note that this, quote, creates a scenario of chronic environmental measures that is inconsistent with responsible coastal zone management, end of quote. The coalition also criticized the EIA for again failing to assess air and noise pollution from cruise ships, vessels that they noted burn 100% fossil fuels and can require more power than Belize City itself. They consider it a major health risk that the EIA ignores. Another major issue raised is the absence of a legislated national port strategy. Despite multiple cruise port proposals currently in play for the Belize City area, the NGOs warned that approving more than one port risks creating sub-economic operations and unnecessary environmental damage. They reiterated that the cabinet had previously committed to prioritizing sustainable development and equatorial and ecological conservation in the cruise sector. The coalition ultimately recommended that the cruise port portion of the project be denied for a third time and urged that any upgrades to the cargo port be reviewed independently of the cruise port proposal. The annual conch season usually runs from October the 1st to June 30th, which in the past would overlap with the start of the lobster season. Last year, the conch season closed in May, and this year it closed on April the 6th, over 2 months earlier. Fishermen from Sardinia are sounding the alarm that this year's early closure is affecting their livelihoods, as they say they will have no income until the lobster season opens. According to them, no one from the Fisheries Department has reached out to them. We spoke with 2 Sardinia fishermen, Osnel Durantes and Octavio Flores, who said fishermen are now left wondering how they will pay their bills.
For me, it closed too early because in years past, it used to close on June as the lobster season closed. Open, I mean, it closed, the conchs closed. But now, last year it closed on May, and now this year closed on April. And on what I'm seeing is that every year they will be closing earlier until maybe we only have 3 months for the conch season open. And affecting as fisherman, well, I have a family, I have bills on the bank, and how I will maintain to have a well food on my table for my family. I rent a house. I think that it's really, really affecting us as a fisherman because for 3 months we have to find a job, and here, who will give you a job for 3 months?
And how many
Nobody.
fishermen are in Sardinia?
Sardinia, if you come to Sardinia, more than half of the population in Sardinia is fishermen.
Where we fishermen, where we and do right now, we no got nothing for do. Just right now, how the gentleman is speaking to you, that is the same thing. How we and live? How we and live right now in this village like that? Huh? I don't see the whole why they shut that job like that, and that affecting a lot. I tell you, see what they happen right now in this village. Lot of problem they have to the one in this village because all the majority of the villagers from Sardinia are fishermen.
Anybody from Fisheries explain anything to you all about why it goes so early?
No, sir. To know, nobody knows sit down long one table and discuss the matters what happened to the fisherman. None, neither for we committee. No sit down long one table with Fisheries or somebody and sit down and see what is happening.
Kenneth Esquivel, the coordinator of the Capture Fisheries Unit in the Fisheries Department, explained that the conch season's closing is based on several factors. He said that while the law states the conch season runs from October 1st to June 30th, the law also dictates that the department is required to close the season if quotas are reached to ensure the longevity of the industry.
These factors could be biological factors, could be the quota system that is in place, and it could also be by the existing regulatory frameworks. Under the SI 54 of 2012, there's a standard period for the conch season. And legally it runs from October 1st to June 30th. However, the law also gives the Fisheries Department the capacity to close the season once the quota is realized early. So before the season begins every year, it's a common practice that the department conducts an annual assessment of our conch fishery. And it is within these assessments that we use these assessments to analyze the population densities, and we calculate maximum sustainable yield. The maximum sustainable yield determines the portion of the conch population that can be extracted without directly impacting the conch population when it comes to spawning and recruitment for the next season. So we monitor these landings through the year, throughout the season, and as the quota is realized, then the Fisheries Department is required to close the season, even if it's not June yet. If we continue fishing, regardless of the status of the population, then we might run into a problem that might lead to overfishing. And that is one of the main reasons why the department needs to close the season early if the quota is realized.
Esquivel said that the stakeholders are informed on a monthly basis about the current quotas so that fishers can then be warned of a potential closing of the season. Still, he says that Fisheries Department takes the concern of the Sardinia fishers seriously and will meet with them during the scheduled meeting for next month.
It starts long before We approach the date. Like I said before, the fishery department monitor these landings on a monthly basis. So we keep in constant communication with the producers, with the cooperatives, with the two private companies that are the main exporters. And as we see how their production is going, then we, at the fishery department, conduct some production forecasts, and we could somewhat determine when the season will be closed. And through those assessments, then we inform these exporters, and they themselves, they inform their members or the people they work, the fishers that they associate with. First of all, I want to emphasize that the fisheries department deeply understand the concerns raised by the Sarteneja fishermen, and we recognize that the early closure of the season will have a direct impact on the livelihoods and income of these families that solely depend on these resources now. However, we must not forget the primary goal of the fisheries department is to ensure that we have a conch fishery not just for this season, but for many generations to come, not just for the Sarteneja fishers, but also for all fishers across Belize. And that the decision for an early closure is not taken lightly. That these decisions are data-driven by our annual assessment. Senior fishing up to June, then we might run the risk of an overfishing of the conch fishery. The concerns raised by these fishers, the fisheries department will address it in the upcoming Fisheries Council meeting, since we believe that it is very important that the fishers, which are our main stakeholders and stewards of our resources, to understand clearly what's behind these decisions.
Foreign Minister Francis Fonseca yesterday confirmed reports that the government of Belize is considering bringing in nurses from the Philippines and Nicaragua to replace the Cuban nurses if the Cuban Medical Brigade program comes to an end. Currently, there are 92 medical professionals from Cuba in Belize. 45 of them are doctors. Fonseca said that they are also reviewing options that would see the Cubans remain in Belize.
Yes, they are looking at options, even, putting aside the Cuban issue. We need nurses, even with the Cubans who are here in Belize. We still have a shortage of nurses. So we have been looking at options. The Ministry of Health has been looking at various options, including, as you mentioned, one, nurses from the Philippines, also nurses from Nicaragua. Those are options that they are looking at.
Under its Together We Rise secondary school upliftment program, the Ministry of Education provides close to 300 school runs for students to continue their education. Minister of Education Francis Fonseca confirmed that they too are feeling the pinch of the increase of the price of diesel, and they are currently negotiating with the bus companies.
Yeah, we have around 280 bus runs. And whenever we have these additional costs in fuel, we have to sit down with these bus operators to try to renegotiate within the context of our own budget how we can supplement those contracts, because they operate on very, very, very thin margins, very small margins. So yeah, we're doing that right now. We're working with them. We're not asking for any additional funds from Ministry of Finance, but we're looking within our own budget to see how we can supplement those contracts so that they remain viable for them.
While the request from the Belize Bus Association for concessions to ease the gas pain is still under review.
Understood. The Belize Bus Association request, do you know if Cabinet has already concluded its discussion on that?
No. I think that's still under review, and I think the Minister of Transport is preparing something more comprehensive to table in Cabinet for us to look at. So we didn't look at that yesterday.
That's our news package for this morning, the 10th day of April 2026. There's a news update at 12 and another one at 3 o'clock, and a full news broadcast at 5:15, all on CREM Radio. Here on XTV, we bring you the entire news broadcast at 6 o'clock this evening. It's now 9 minutes after 7 o'clock. We take a very fast break, come back, and we have our guest already in studio, and he'll be joining us right after the break.
Informative, accurate, current information. CREM's newscast. Local, regional, and international news. Weather and sports.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Oh gosh, I'm say the fretting up of the hair I'm flexing. I'm say the frowning up on me hair is wearing. Whoa.
Attention advertisers, sellers and readers of the Amandala newspaper, please be advised that there will be no online Tuesday issue of the newspaper on Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 and Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. There will only be the Friday issue, which will hit the streets on Thursday, April 2nd, 2026 and Friday, April 10th, 2026. Happy Easter from the management and staff of the Amandala newspaper.
right, greetings again. We're back on the second part of our show, and you know that this part of the show is when we get into our conversation. Our conversation this morning is with our brother, and you know every time I ask this brother to come in, he answers yes.
Reluctantly.
Yeah, he answers yes. I say, all right, if you ask Nuri, I want to come in. But I'm always happy when he said yes, because in reality, he is a storehouse of information and an excellent communicator at the level of our people. So welcome to Attorney Dicky Bradley. We have a long list of stuff to deal with this morning, and that's why we're starting a little bit early. Welcome, my brother.
Thanks for the invitation, Nuri. Yes, I see you pull out your George Price notebook, and a page is filled there with issues.
Yes, you know, actually I learned this. I didn't realize that Mr. Price had this habit of always having a piece of paper and something, and he said, what's your name? What did you say?
I go back to check.
But actually, I got this pattern from something I read about Malcolm. And he said that Malcolm
As in the great Malcolm X?
Yes, he said that Malcolm X was without a notebook and a pen.
Yeah.
And whenever he heard a word that was interesting, he'd write that word and he'd go research that word, or he'd hear a quote or somebody would say something, or a thought came to mind. So I got into
Nothing
this.
beats writing, yeah.
But I noticed that you are also a scribe. You are also
a scribe, no? I think Jesus wasn't happy with the scribes. I don't want to be one of those scribes or liars. That's why I tell you, please say that I'm the captain of a boat. I can't help this. Let me tell you that I learned that same matter when I was a young man and I worked at the post office. My boss, Mr. Charles Hyde, insisted, young Bradley, write it down. You know, by this evening, you know, I remember, because he has so much things. And then he also said, use one of those, don't use one sheet of paper like we have here, use a book, so you can always in your spare time go back and see what you wrote yesterday, day before, how far you reached. And over the years, you put down this, put down that, and it becomes a habit. Just like I can't break out of this other habit. Over the years, Calvin Young taught me this. Over the years, when I was reading books, I would have a dictionary. In fact, I ended up actually ordering Chambers dictionary, which writers use, and I still have the up-to-date one. So I'd look up words, but now I'm fighting with the technology, because you just need to go to Google and say, well, put in a word ambiguous or anathema. Somebody says it's pronounced differently. But it's habits that help us to form ourselves. Our discipline, you get up in the morning, you do certain things. If you can't skip, if you can't do a bit of exercise, if it's hard in the morning, do it in the evening. So once the habit sets in, then you know, well, you know, the only thing don't put in a habit is your sex life. Keep that open, keep that spontaneous, keep that, you know, can happen anytime. Yeah, well, Nuri, I also made a little note early this morning.
All right.
Maybe I should start.
I got a long list, but go ahead.
Okay, let me squeeze in some of them.
Okay.
First, well, I'll get to that one. First, I wanted to start off by saying massive congratulations to a public officer, Diana Hendy, Mrs. Hendy. She has worked at the magistrate court in our country long before I burnt down Paslow building. She, you laugh at a bad thing. She has worked herself up.
Statute of limitation.
Has not.
Police wait for you.
And they would say, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she has worked herself up where she became the clerk of all the clerks, in charge of all the magistrate courts, staffing, and personnel.
You're speaking of the lady that just recently retired?
Yes, she retired just this week, yeah, Mrs. Diane Hendy. Yeah.
Wonderful person.
I got to know her dad, who same kind of, you know, special people, but I wanted to also, so congratulations, Mrs. Diana. It's a great achievement that you could stay in the public service. You have seen it change from bad to worse, but you have stomached it. You have never allowed the irritations and the other harassment that comes with being in an important position. And you have always been very, very helpful. And all we liars, us liars who deal with the courts and have to deal with the staff and so, We have major respect for all the years of service you have given to us, to the court system, and by extension to the people of this country. That is, it's a great achievement.
Indeed. It sounds like she goes all the way back to Chief Magistrate Lucas, because he was Chief Magistrate.
I think before Lucas, he was there when Judge Lard was the Chief Magistrate.
I thought Lard came after.
No. It's a funny thing, because Judge Lucas, who was formerly a ranking police officer, then became a labor officer by going to night school and getting the overseas examination.
He's a great story, yeah.
Oh man, you see now, these are the things that need to be preserved.
Yeah, he's a
Justice Lucas is a genuine role model for this country.
Indeed.
You know, and I must say,
young poor boy,
humble, respectful,
gone through the system from clerk all the way through.
Right up to becoming a judge. And he was a former director of public prosecution, former chief magistrate, labor officer.
Very successful.
Man, and he has not lost his ability to be fair.
Yeah.
It's so important to exercise patience with people. When you're sitting on the bench and you're a judge and you're really there on top of the world, you still have to treat people as people. Yeah.
Gotta be humble.
You know, we overlook because the great Chester Williams is such a character.
Yeah.
Chester is a role model too, you know.
Very much so.
They used to rub in his face, Ghana High School, this and that.
And
that man, they carry himself right up to the top.
All the way up.
To the top. Stay humble, Mr. Millionaire Chester.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Dan Henry. Congratulations to your family, who, of course, without their support, we all can't be what we are. Yeah. I also want, before it slips me, to say that our good friend, my bishop, Bishop Philip Wright, who is now the bishop for the whole Caribbean Anglican region, there will be a service of recognition for his great achievement. I think this month right here in April, no? So another congratulations to a man who is also a model of what we can be. We're not all hooligans and criminals and jackers and shooters, you know. That's a small percentage of our population. Yeah, the vast majority of our people, good, decent, law-abiding Christians and Muslims in our society.
And both men that you're talking about and the woman, they all have the characteristic of humility.
True.
So speaking of this generation, and we'll get into that, where have we lost the power of humility? Notice how I put it, because we somehow think to be humble is to be a punk and to be weak. But we didn't realize that to be humble is where the power lies.
And that is a strength of character.
Yeah, because you can be very, very, very wise.
You know, simple thing like saying good morning, simple thing like saying thank you. The simple things. You know, when I was in the public service, when they used to teach us, because they teach you, I want to talk about the public service so bad, but they taught you actually, when you are writing a letter on behalf of the department, on behalf of your boss, it usually ends with, I remain your humble servant.
Yes.
That's a given.
Yes.
You are serving the people.
Indeed.
So, you know, before it slips my mind, I want to say that there was a time certainly in the late 90s, when the turn of the century, the people from the government department, if I could use that word, at the University of the West Indies, there's a Department of Government Public Administration. The lecturers, they used to come here and give lectures to public officers, you know. All those things have gone by the wayside because, I tell you a simple thing, Nuri and your public. The public service in Belize, Mrs. Diane Hendy and Chester and Judge Lucas and many other good, decent persons, they are the ones that run the country, you know. Yeah? Politicians, they go to cabinet 1 day a week. They probably go there at 9, they start by 10, by 2 o'clock, they're done out of cabinet. You can't run a country like that. They are there to set policy and to ensure that they are on top of the overall thing, because somebody have to be responsible. Now, they are lucky because they are not responsible and they are not accountable. But every day, every day, it's the public officers who serve us, who are there for us. Some of them let we down, of course, and then a lot of them are contaminated by the crookedness and the corruption that is going on and so on. But the vast majority of people who stick it out, put up with all the wrongdoings and the chance, and people who get a lead position and want to rough them up and treat them like they're not important. Public officers are the people who hold the country together.
Indeed.
If you don't believe, you see when a hurricane to come, make it come. Who wanted it to serve? It ain't the politicians. They're in Miami. So we need to talk about the need to modernize the public service, to get the political part of it out, and to have. Let me tell you, the British who were in charge of this country, in charge of many, many countries, they had written rules, regulations, and so on. Because when you deal with government money, when you deal with the taxpayers' money from top to bottom, you have to treat it like this. Anybody will get the opportunity to thief the money, they will thief it. It's human nature. You can't have somebody there on a lot of weed and not think, push one underneath there, push one underneath there. It's just human nature. Jesus himself picked his disciples, humble people, mostly fishermen, and when they sell out for money, sell out on money, not do nobody, not know that we collect on money. You think about people in an office and high position and so on. So we need to go back to a situation where there has to be transparency, there has to be accountability. You know, the Auditor General of this nation appeared in front of the Public Accounts Committee, which is the only committee, thanks to Said Musa, the only committee which is headed. This is a parliamentary committee. And I want to say something about that. This parliamentary committee, it is Said Musa as Prime Minister of the country that changed the rules that required that that committee is chaired by a representative from the opposition. What better way to have scrutiny and accountability than your putative enemy, your rival? The UDP, when they're in opposition, the PUP, when they're in opposition, it is in their interest to find wrongdoing, to find corruption, to find waste, because it boosts their image and it drags down their rival's image. So imagine putting that kind of power in the hands of the opposition. Huge respect, Said Musa. Big respect.
Yes.
And now, in Modern Belize, in 2026, we need to put several more of the parliamentary committees in the hands of not only the opposition, but the social partners, the citizens. And let me take this opportunity as a humble person. Well, I want to be humble. As a humble person from Wagner Lane, from the south side of Belize City, who grew up dirt poor, like most of my neighbors and my friends and my schoolmates and so on. Let me say that we need to pay more attention to this. When BTL made a try pull wool over the eye and spend $170 million to go buy what their workers call some old house, a good house to go buy a old house. $170 million. 4 senators, not belong to the UDP, not belong to the PUP. The PUP, they're silent. They're like sheep. They're led around the place doing all the wrong things. Then 4 independent senators. Independent mean independent of the 2 political parties. They're answerable to the Chamber of Commerce, to the Labor Union, to the churches, and so forth. 4 of them stood up against that weird, unacceptable decision that you're going to take money and buy things you don't need. In the modern world, we don't need no cable with wire. We need, you understand? That is how
different level altogether.
That is how the Russians have been helping the Iranians, the Persians, to stand up to the most mightiest, murderous nation on earth, Israel and America. Then silently they share satellite information. So, and then we don't want to bring in the Chinese, they call Trump and bomb we. But the situation is this, man. 4, let me see now. You have Janelle Chanuna, you have Glenfield Dennison, you have Pastor Lewis Wade, and then you have one other senator.
Yeah, that would be Herrera.
That's right. That's the man. I'm really proud of you. Kevin He is. So I understand you had him as a guest here.
Studied. No, he was most guest, but he
okay,
was,
but on the Gorilla Radio Station.
Excellent show.
Yeah, Kevin got on mind where to focus on the type of thing.
Very much so.
He must have.
And very unassuming brother too, you know.
No man, we need our country need them people. We need to know, man. That's really proud. There are so much things.
But I want to get back to that discrepancy of what has turned us into this level that arrogance pays.
Yeah.
Because it's a very American Wall Street.
Well, that's where we get it from.
Yeah, you know, get what you have to get, do what you have to do, and to hell with whatever happened, get it. And we didn't used to be like that. We were, in the old days, we used to be what we call shamefaced. We easy to say, well, no, that no look like something I don't want to do. But now we seem to have developed an attitude of put it aside, win at all costs.
This is why your program is so important, and this is why the University of the West Indies branch and the University of Belize and Galen University need to do like the Fantastic Four senators. They need to find ways to discuss things. People don't know that Iran, the Iranians, are the Persians. They come from, I think they have a history like 4,000 to 6,000 years ago.
Way
America
back.
is only 250 years old.
They ain't reached 1,000 yet.
No, far from it. They probably never will.
Yeah.
At the rate they're going.
At the rate they're going,
so,
indeed.
You know, there are some things that happen where we just fail to inform and educate our people. And the only newspaper that's left in the country, the Mandala.
You need to say that twice.
Only newspaper that we now have in this country. Not because of the crime, I come say this. Not because of an ex-hide used to allow me to write in this newspaper. This is the only newspaper that's left, and guess what? With all the media we have, you won't believe nothing. We media like CNN. Nothing has been said about this major development in the world. This major development in the world. On the 25th day of March, last month, just 2 weeks ago, the United Nations, by 123 members, voted to say that they said that the newspaper has the headline, the United Nations declares African chattel enslavement to be the gravest crime against humanity. CARICOM steadfast in its call for reparations. CARICOM minus Belize. There ain't no Belize going on with this. Which is one of the things I'm glad you called me when my mind was reading the resolution and so. Because this is where you and Yaya come in. And others, we need, I'm going to say we Creole. This is a black people thing. This is those who have suffered from slavery. The universities I just called has totally failed in trying to educate and inform us about what is behind this. What is this about? And I'll try and tell you in my little kind of way. But the point is this. Because I'll tie it in with the book that spoiled my Easter, I did get a chance to read the Gospel according to John, but look at this. I was so intrigued. I was so like, all I did was eat, swim, and read. I read out my Easter. One least sex on the side, eat, read. I'm so intrigued. This is the Night of Fire was like August 1791 when the slave, there were 500,000 slaves in Haiti.
That we didn't know.
Listen, the great Spartacus, who is the slave leader that rose up against the Roman Empire, was not successful. He was defeated and hundreds of thousands of people were crucified for miles and miles down the road. Anybody going to, you would see all these crosses on piece of board with just there like crossways on and put you up on it and so. The only person, the only slave in the history of the world that succeeded is this man Toussaint. I can't pronounce his last name. Like it's French, no?
Yeah,
French.
French.
Because Haiti was taken by the French.
Right.
This man and hundreds of thousands of slaves defeated the mighty French army. Napoleon sent a special large hundreds of thousands of soldiers and sailors to bring him down. The Spain got involved. He defeated Spain, he defeated France, he defeated the British. This book is the only attempt to really focus on the man. In the preface, they spent a lot of time pointing out all the historical books that have been written about Haiti, because at the time France was going through their own revolution. They had their revolution, I think, before America. The reign of terror when they were killing all the rich people there and the aristocrats and so on. I couldn't put down the book. I couldn't into the late night when I should be like, doing other things. Like, I gotta say that. But man, we need to talk books, So I'm tying it in because guess what? We don't know. There's a thing in here. I'll probably go back to it. But back
in the 60s, a lot of our eyes were open to a great book by C.L.R. James called The Black Jacobins, which was also telling us about Haiti. And the only person I know locally that has kept that alive was Evan X. Hyde, who I believe about 20 years ago was running a series to explain what we don't know about the Cuban Revolution. Because around the time that it took place, he surmised that there had to have been some kind of connection between our enslaved population and the Haitians, because the Haitians were on top of the world at that time. What would be interesting maybe when we come back is to look at the psychological aspect of that war, because
the Cubans are Haitian.
Well, Haitian, because if you look at what happened with that, Toussaint ended up going to France, where he was jailed.
He was tricked into going
he was tricked very much so, and not only that, but the Haitians had to pay reparations to the French. And they still pay it. Up to today, they still pay for what was considered a damage to the ego and the economy.
The economy of France, because Haiti was the richest of the territories. They call it the Pearl of the Antilles. As a matter of fact, 4,000 ships go into the harbor of Haiti every year in that time. 4,000.
Wow, imagine.
At one stage,
that's like the Strait of Hormuz.
At one stage, you know what, the planters, the mulattoes, and the French they made a decision. We are slaughter and kill all the slaves on the island. It's a half an island. It's shared with the Dominica. The decision was made, we are kill all of them for what they do. We are slaughter all of them and bring in troops from France and kill them. And we just bring other new slaves. We don't know nothing about this freedom and Toussaint and so on and so forth. That decision was made, there is a Roman Catholic priest, Bartolome de las Casas. Everybody doing the history of college where I hear that name there. He sat down and he wrote a book of his experience while he was a priest in Haiti. And there is an extract by this historian, which I'd want to share. The horrible people, like we have to know for link things, right? The horrible slaughtering of women and children and people just because of the color of their skin that was done by the French, done by the British too. We have had 4 slave rebellions in Belize. We had a small population of slaves, like 3,000 compared to 300,000. In Toussaint's lifetime, in the beginning of the revolution by black people against French, there were 500,000 slaves. The planters and the rich aristocrats were the richest people in the Western Hemisphere at that time. Millions of acres of land being planted out in cacao, in sugar, the famous sugar, and so on and so forth. That happened in that place there, the horrible treatment that was done to them. Anybody who was slave on the basis of your color. In all slave societies in slavery, they go to war, they defeat a country, or they go and invade and take over a country, they put the male to work. And of course, they rape the women and take them over as concubines. But in this situation, that is why the United Nations resolution is so important, that the world accepts that the gravest, worstest crime that has ever been done to human beings is the slave trade and the enslavement of black people.
And could you imagine that France, who perpetuated that, abstained when it came up for resolution at the United Nations?
Of course,
How could you have blood dripping off your hands from your history and you want to say, well, no, I don't think we
And you see Nuri one...
But wait a minute, I'm way over the break, so let's take the break for 2 Cent Scam with Brick, sponsored by Fort Point Security, and then we'll get back. We promised to open the lines maybe around 8:30 so that you could join this conversation. Stay tuned.
All right, I want to make...
You're watching WUB on XTV and the Big Up Friday. So make we go out and find out the people in 2 Cents and the people in Big Up. Let's go. All right, Big Up Friday. Who you want to big up on this Friday?
Well, first and foremost, you have to big up the Lord Almighty.
Yeah.
You know, for giving us health and strength. I like to big up my girlfriend, Denise Casimiro.
All right.
You know, my siblings, my other families and friends, big up everybody.
Yeah, Big Up Friday, we just want a big up place. You are all the customers' name, man. You don't know, large up yourself all the time.
Big Up Friday, who you want to big up?
Yeah, I want to big up to Belizeans as well, and big up to all my, my fans and people that patronize me every day in the Dolavan, you know. I want to say big up to them, all the Belizeans people for patronizing me, and and we're doing a good job for them, and and I see people in here could say big up too. Who you want to big up? Big up you. All right.
Love to everyone, especially for our Precious Day. You come with the sweetness and love.
Big up everybody in the whole world, especially my fans. I want to big them up and tell them thanks for supporting.
Yeah. Big up for the height. You big up. The Deputy Prime Minister of Belize.
All right. Who you want to big up?
Everybody.
Big up Abby King, Car Wash, big up the Dread, Checkered Box, and big up Belize.
All right.
Let's all be happy.
All right.
At Habet and Abet and Brothers Abet, we've always proudly celebrated Women's Month. This year, we celebrate women keeping the balance at home, at work, and in their communities. That's why all March long, all women receive 15% off store-wide, from paints to plumbing and everything in between. Plus, 20 to 65% off lots more deals on sale and clearance. With trusted experience, top quality products, and service that's second to none, we're here to support women every step of the way. Visit or call us today. Happy Women's Month from all of us at Habet and Abet and Brothers Abet, doing our part to balance the scales.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre. de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online, por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Tired of appliances that just don't last? Appliances that just can't keep up? It's time for a change. GE Appliances delivers reliability, innovation, and performance you can trust. The decision is easy. Don't settle for less. Choose quality, choose reliability, choose GE.
I'm very happy knowing I have a new home. Me and my kids have where to live. I've been renting with me and my kids. Me and the two kids live alone, and it's not been easy for me moving from one house to our next house, trying to make the kids feel comfortable because rent is not cheap, so we have to be moving. Sometimes the landowners there don't like this, they don't like that, so we have to move out, and so it has not been easy for me and them. They have been very happy. They come with me on the Sundays and we try to clean a little bit, and the little one, she's excited, she wants to live in Bullet Tree. From the project started, Mom, when are we going to live in Bullet Tree? I tell her soon.
I always say this is one of the pivotal projects that this government is involved with, and I know the personal struggles of this particular family. I know what they've been through, and I know what this house represents to them. We're giving them a house, but for them it's an opportunity. For them it's a home where these girls can rest at night in peace. This house is going to open so many doors for them, and it changes lives, it transforms lives, and so I'm really happy to be a part of this, and I hope that for the rest of the time that I'm an area representative, we can continue to deliver homes to needy families like this one.
We are in an area that we had to improve the infrastructure, which is quite our experience. Infrastructure does play a big part in what we have to do. It improves the lives of many other people, not just our recipients.
Thanks to Heavenly Father that He gave us this opportunity, and to Honorable Misha Shabat, and to housing, and everybody who put a helping hand in this to make this house possible. I'm very grateful.
Oh gosh, I'm say, hey, me fretting up about the hair I'm flexing. I'm say, hey, me frowning up
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. We continue to serve you.
Get your body sculpted with gym equipment and accessories from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize, morning vibes on a Friday morning. And we promise you that we will open the phone lines a little bit after 8 o'clock because many of you want to have a direct conversation with our brother, Dicky Bradley. We were talking about that historical declaration at the United Nations.
That's big.
And it's still, I don't think, has sunk into a lot of our people. Maybe because there's not a great interest. There's a lot of different reasons. We probably don't take the UN that important as we used to years ago. But at the same time, such a resolution is not maybe understood because we don't know really what chattel slavery was all about. You still have people in our population who say, man, you can't get over that. I always say, slavery, 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 slavery. Man, what wrong we don't know.
You can't handle
so if we are still at that stage in 2026, then a massive resolution like this one is not resonating with any importance with many people.
Nuri, I'm glad you pinpointed that there are a lot of factors that is at work that cause us not to appreciate some things that are very important. Now, the Amandala, the headline for this article, this story, says that CARICOM is steadfast in their call for reparations. Mm-hmm. Our people don't know what is reparations. Mm-hmm. So that's one point. The second point is that in our case in Belize, we are different from Jamaica and Barbados and most of the Caribbean islands. Guyana, which is not an island, it's the biggest. They have a population of over 800,000 people, but the landmass is just huge. Huge. Belize bigger than Jamaica. Belize are twice the size of Jamaica. And Jamaica is the next biggest Caribbean English-speaking island. Of course, you have Cuba and Haiti and Dominica and so on. By the way, when it comes to CARICOM, I'm very critical. They have abandoned Haiti.
Yeah.
We abandon Haiti. Haiti don't have no government. Haiti don't have no. You depend on Haiti, you know.
Yeah.
They could walk in your house, rape up your people, and kill them. And so there's no government to protect the citizens. There's another thing too, is that all the English-speaking countries have a reparations committee. And there are governments, all our governments in CARICOM, including Belize. That's why we had a little 10-cent resolution in the House, and after that, nothing.
Yeah,
because
I
we
could
were
never
required,
understand that, especially coming from Cordell.
It was required as part of the CARICOM thing that we all say so, no?
Yeah.
But I think one of the faults is this, first of all. Why we are different from the others is because we have a dynamic population of many other races. I would be hard pressed to try and find another country like Belize. The original peoples on the earth, as best as we can tell, in our whole North and South American continents, are the Mayas and the Incas and the Aztecs. Their civilizations stretched back before Jesus walked on the earth. It's a long time. Their temples are still around.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they try, like I know in case of Altuna and the one in Cayo, is it Zunantunich, which was the tallest building in the country, I believe, at
one
that
time. Yeah.
The Maya people don't get a cent off of their ancestors' construction, the architecture, their geometry, their history, their knowledge. I'm so glad to hear. By the way, we need to get the alcalde from, is it Indian Creek or somewhere? We need to bring them on the Belize, you know, he needs to work the land department. All of our people will get 200 feet by 200 feet. That man that was minister of lands.
Yeah.
The sister was a fighter.
That's why they
got one land certificate. Oh my gosh. But the Maya
and the people they support and
no more
the noise is not from the people. The
not
noise
from the one, get on the land.
Yeah.
Get on the land. I'm not in favor of private individual thing in a community thing because people start when they broke and start selling land like we catch we.
Yeah.
We don't own San Pedro, you know. In 20 years time, black people, Creole one can't go to San Pedro. They don't want us there. So I want to come back to make this point. For me, it's a very, very important point.
Yes.
Wilfred Ellington, when he was Minister of Government, he did appoint Bert Tucker, a brilliant Belize man.
Indeed. Unsung hero.
Yeah, unsung. As nearly all our...
Many unsung. We
are famous for that.
We throw dirty water for
unsung hero means that we do not recognize the person. Yeah. He no longer exists in our psyche, in our mind, in our discussions and so. But Wilfred had made an attempt to have Belize be like other CARICOM countries. You know, reparations is a big thing in the United States of America.
Yes,
you know, the black people in Congress are pushing it.
Yes.
So, and I'll try and say something about reparations, what little I know from reading. We in Belize, we're the only one in the English-speaking Caribbean that does not have a reparations committee. How could that be? This nation would not be here if it were not for our ancestors who were dragged over here. I brought a book named Zorg, a famous slave ship. That ship is famous because as you cough and then think you're sick, then throw you overboard. Why? Because they were able to insure the cargo.
Right.
The cargo were human beings captured from Africa. So when they lose one slave, it no matter because they can't be money to get. The other slave ships report that the sharks follow the Zorg because they know they won't get belly full every time. This are like you to eat Sunday dinner every day, you know.
Yes.
They fling you overboard, my boy. Slavery, I'm so glad the United Nations managed to get this passed. Do you know who voted against it? Do you know only 3 countries in the world voted against it? Slave master UK, they don't vote at all. That's how the British do things. Let me tell you what the British do to we. We did not sign any treaty with Guatemala. We did not break any treaty with Guatemala. We own this country because we came here long ago and we worked this country and been here and Guatemala exercised no kind of jurisdiction over us. But guess what? Guess who did a quote? We, the British maneuver we till we flunky crowd agree. that ICJ is the only way. They have big posters on the road. George Price agree if you go there. Philip Golson agree if you go there. Saint Mary may agree if you go there. Jesus was also in favor of go there. That is the brainwashing in our mind.
That's the mindset.
We go in a court and we don't do nothing.
Yeah.
So my point is that the United States of America, to the surprise of nobody, voted against their fellow members in the United Nations, saying of all the crimes that have been committed, including the horrible crime that Germany did to Jewish people. And I'll tell you something about that. But of all the crimes, nothing can compare to going to Africa, paying people to sell out their own brothers, paying people to go commit war against other villages and capture people. Millions, between 15 and 20 million people drag out of Africa to work for free for white people. This is why the British and the French and the Spanish and the Portuguese and the Italians and all of them, their countries have all these great architecture and get rich and could spend money upon scientific development upon weapons because they had this massive workforce.
Free labor.
And they passed laws. That's why be careful how you order the law. The law can be very wrong. The law was that black people were similar to cow and pig and horse. Chattel slavery, you're a chattel, you're a something, you're not a human being. Your master can lash you 39 times. Your master could rape you and sodomize you. If you don't know where to sodomize you, take your body. They could do you anything. Nearly like for we jail, they could do anything and get to it. There's no accountability. Nobody have to answer. You have to really do something really out of the way to enslave for you to be chastised. In Belize, we did not have plantations because Spain, in a treaty with Britain, said you cut logwood, you don't plant anything, you don't have no permanent structures. That is why they chase us off of St. George's Key all the time. That is why we didn't have plantation slavery. And that is why the white slave masters in Belize had to be careful, because who go in the jungle with black slaves and they got machete and axe? Who go in there after you don't whop up their man, wife, chance them up and do that kind of thing, you see? Of course they didn't go, they sent some overseer, some Uncle Tom. But let's talk about reparations quickly. When finally, like what Toussaint did in Haiti and what black slaves did in every country that they were in this part of the world, they rebelled, they fought, they sacrificed their life. We did it too,
Yes.
You have to understand the only name we have in the whole history that white people write, little bit of it, not plenty, is the name of Will and Sharper. Wanted dead or alive in 1820 when they rose up against the atrocities that were done to black people in this country. I mean, black people, like, we've been so brainwashed, right? Our hero is Tarzan. A white man where one plane crash, when the baby grew up, he could talk to tiger, he could talk to elephant, he could call them when they tie him up and he could lose the all that about, but that is how we think that white people are superior to us. How confident place and look so good, and we still live so people because we have come from slavery. We had nothing when slavery was abolished in Belize, like in everywhere else, in 1833, 1834, up to 1838. We can't get no land. Are you surprised that we still can't get no land? I want to ask Prime Minister to bring back Jose Alberto May and put him in charge. Let him be the agriculture czar for this country. All the money where they get from tourism, where they waste up around the place from political projects, put the money into agriculture. Make we not only be sufficient food-wise, we eat where we grow and grow where we eat, we could export. Look what happened in coconut. Nuri and my brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. We have shrimp that Belize, we have conchs that Belize, we have lobster. We can't eat anything. Yeah, you can't eat anything. Maybe now and then, like one jog plane drop and a bus and big money, but we can't eat anything. It is too expensive. We can't eat anything there. If you want to impress, I don't know how to say anything, but we can't eat anything. Guess what happened? Coconut. Coconut. We have now been in a position where there are people who will buy all of the coconut. So in the next 5, 7, 10 years, and so we can
just plant it
coconut.
and grow.
You should see the 2 tandem trucks there we come south, we full of coconut. Coconut can't done. I watch that thing there. Like I'm not into Facebook. I don't have Facebook.
I agree with that idea of appointing Mai as some sort of czar, because while he was there, you could see the actions that
he's dynamic.
He definitely, and he's a farmer.
Yeah.
You see, and
he fixed his knees so he could move around. But you could ride horse
but
too.
they
You know.
back.
But you need related to your back. If you walk and
anyway,
all right, we are not doctors.
No wait for him
Reparations.
to become. I don't need for him to join and go through any kind of political process. Appoint the man. It's
let's get it done.
Appoint the man and put him in a position to do
I was
something.
going to say appoint a reparations committee. But the government is a Spanish government. There are no black people in there, so they're not
concerned about that because.
Well, I have a solution.
All right, good.
I have a solution.
Caller, we're asking you to wait until we're going to open the phone lines after the 8:30.
I depend on the rostrum. I want you to be a priest. I'm on the rostrum. We're not the rostrum. I'm the pulpit. Better.
Yes.
I want to be like Bishop Wright, Philip Wright. I'm on the pulpit. I want to explain reparations, just a little 2 minutes thing.
Yeah.
Reparations mean you are paying somebody for repairing what you have done to them.
It's a legal term.
Yes, it is a legal term as well. Guess what happened? When all these slave rebellions were taking place and they were killing white people and burning them out, and I can't help but I want to tell you what Malcolm X said about the field slave and the house slave. Maybe another time. But all those things. And can I hurry tell you this? There are good white people in the world, you know. Michael Jackson and the guy Paul McCartney from the Beatles. There's good and bad in everyone. Here you got bad black people and you got good black people. The color of your skin don't change the nature of your character. Remember that famous speech that Bob Marley took from Haile Selassie? Until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of your eyes. The situation is that when slavery had to end, and we are still slaves, we are economic slaves. You don't see the change, but we are controlled by the IMF and the World Bank and all these white people who have power in the world. So let me tell you, reparations is this. When slavery came to an end, the people who passed the law were also slave masters and slave owners. Maybe not the masters, they call them bigger than that. They have people, they were slave owners, so they passed a law that they are to be paid for losing their cows, meaning losing black people. For losing their slaves, all of them. We have the name, the British has borrowed a large amount of money to pay slave masters and slave owners, including in Belize and for Belize. The names are right there on the internet. All the persons who have been paid the equivalent of billions of dollars to lose their black slave men and their black slave women.
And they never did release us because psychologically we were still entrapped by the apprenticeship
economic
program.
Forces, yes. Well, not only that, the economic forces. You say in 1834 or 33, you say all slaves are freed, but they must still work for 4 years now as an apprentice to learn a trade from their masters, the very same slave masters. They don't have no tools. They don't have nothing. They have nothing. They don't have one land where they could say, I know they work for him. I went from my land. The law is for 4 years. Your ancestors had to still stay around the people who raped them and take them back and beat them and do them all kind of thing. You know the hell I get thanks to crime right here. Every chance I got when we were on a Wednesday night show that Evan Hyde had the boldness and bravery to have in this country where we don't talk things. We only talk when they did a party and when they did a this one house and we talk big, but nobody not say nothing publicly. So I used to say, because I found out, I read it with my own 2 eyes from historians, that the best and biggest building in Belize City, right, at Swing Ridge, used to be Paslow Building. They named upon the building. Thomas Paslow was a slave owner in this territory. He was taken to court because he had mutilated some of his slaves. Our ancestors, our grandmothers and grandfathers, man, he did that personally. You know what is mutilating a slave? You cut off a nose, you cut their finger, you cut their titty, you cut their tilly. That is mutilation. He was taken to court by the white people and wrong and who were slave masters.
And
they can't
found
believe
guilty.
that he did a thing like that.
Oh yeah.
And he was found guilty and charged, one criminal. A man who ill-treat other human beings, the worst kind of way. He named the pound for we biggest and best building. By the way, look where UDP they put some plastic building there. Rather than thief up millions of dollars, they put on the plastic building there. We need to know something about ourselves, people, yeah? So reparations is that they paid the slave master for losing the slave. Fine. Invest in it. What about the slave themselves? What about these people who gone through hell? There's a movie that Adi Murphy, the Palace, to hell and back. But they never come back. Yeah? They gone to hell. So my point is this now. Now in the modern age, in the United States of America, in our Caribbean countries, all over the world, including Mama Africa, which have 50-odd countries, they are saying, what you did to those people in that time is a great crime. Nobody has to no money, because nobody has pass no money, but you could put in place, pay for doctors, nurses, teachers, for hospitals, for medication, for scientific development, for things like when Hugo Chavez was giving Belize oil at a cheap rate in the hopes that the money where they get, they want to put it back in the people. Instead, they thief up the money and we are still here poor. Black people, you need to understand. So I'm saying to Nuri Mohammed this morning on this show, I come here only for this, Nuri. Sorry. I came to say that a brother like Nuri Mohammed, when I made to go to school this man, they organize panel discussions. He's not a university. We have 3 universities, they organize nothing. I'm saying, my brother, people like you, like Yaya, like many others, if we get into name calling, some parents they left me off, they kid, disrespect me and so on. We need to form our own reparations committee. The government won't do it. Yeah? This is a Spanish government. They are not going to do it. You need to get our brothers and sisters like our good friend Sandra. Sandra can be a major consultant and advisor to such a committee to stay focused. What is the work of the committee? To start to educate you all. You don't want to get no money. Nobody can put $100,000 in your hand. But your community, your society, your country will benefit because those people who did our people wrong, the gravest crime in humanity, is what was done to 15 to 20 million human beings. You can't use people like that, build up your country, make you rich and not give back. So it is your institution so that you could help Francis Fonseca. They do a fantastic job in education.
Yes,
we can't take that away
Just
from
before we go to the break, I needed to be clear that reparation is not what you're begging for. It's what's owed to you.
Yeah.
But put this into this context. If we got reparation, we would not have to be going to Taiwan, asking Taiwan for anything, you know. We would not have to be waiting for the United States and waiting for all of these others. Yes, we would have sufficient finance there. And get this clear in your mind, reparation is not somebody coming, as you said just now, and putting $1,000 in your hand. That would be wasted.
And it
would be put into institution and institutional base. We got to take the break now. We got to take the break. We'll be right back.
To build up agriculture.
Yeah.
Your time is valuable. That's why SARA is coming. A modern revenue authority built to make managing your taxes simpler, faster, and more convenient than ever before. With SARA, you can expect improved services from quicker responses to queries to faster processing of your tax refunds. No long waits. Filing or paying your taxes? With SARA, you'll be able to do it securely online at any time from anywhere, thanks to us placing a greater focus on digital convenience and secure digital records. The SARA will also commit to consistent and fair application of tax laws via a risk-based audit and compliance strategy and increased data-driven reforms. With SARA, most of your tax business will be handled online, saving you time to focus on what matters most: your business, your family, your life. And if you need in-person help, SARA will still have staff ready to assist you at all satellite offices countrywide. SARA, tax services made simpler, faster, and more convenient for you.
Hola, soy el Dr. Rosado, pediatra. Hoy quiero hablar con los padres sobre rotavirus y cómo podemos proteger a nuestros hijos. El rotavirus es un virus que causa diarrea severa y vómitos, especialmente en niños pequeños. Esto puede provocar deshidratación grave y requerir hasta hospitalización si no se trata a tiempo. La buena noticia es que diarrea por rotavirus se puede prevenir con vacunas. La vacuna es segura, efectiva y ahora está disponible en su centro de salud más cercana. Se administra en gotas por vía oral a los 2, 4 y 6 meses de edad. Proteja a su hijo contra la diarrea severa. Visite su clínica más cercana.
Development is not something that can be achieved only by the government or only by the community. It is always a partnership. It's always a partnership. Government, our development partners, the community, Belizeans, all working together, united for one common purpose. And what is that one common purpose? To build a good country, a better country, where all Belizeans will have an equal opportunity.
Today's handover is more than an infrastructure project. It is a demonstration of our promise, a commitment to the well-being of your children and to the future of your community.
One of the things that we have been supporting at the national level is something called the Multidimensional Poverty Index. What that shows is that we look at poverty and deprivation not only as a matter of lack of income, but if you don't have access to housing, safe housing, or access to education, or access to water, is also some of those things that are measured, so you get a more complete picture of what needs to be addressed.
It's not fair that children, because they live in rural Toledo, don't have the opportunity to see those things, touch those things, use those things, simply because you live in a small village way to the back. That is not the kind of society we want in Belize. We want one where every child has the same opportunity. Every child drinks the same clean water. Every child has the same opportunity to education, same access to computer technology and everything that comes along with that. And that's what we want.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Attention advertisers, sellers and readers of the Amanda.
Welcome back. An interesting conversation on reparation, on the United Nations resolution, and generally how these things relate to us, and will it make a difference if we know better? They say that you can't do better if you don't know better. But as the scripture says, how can they be saved if they're not taught? And how can they be taught if a teacher is not sent? So we appreciate your being here, because this is the education process that we have to go through. I want to say to the caller who insists on calling, please, we're going to open up after this next break, and you'll be able to express yourself.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Nuri,
my brother.
I want to try to answer your question, which is a big question in our community. How we are losing that humility, that little network, that bond between ourselves in our small community, no? In Iran, there are 93 million people. Right now, like, even their enemies, like, really feel one sense of some kind of, maybe not pride, but satisfaction that they take and bomb in, my boy. They bombed 19,000 targets. Know what they say they will do? They being the infidels and the great Satan, and the Satan assistant Beelzebub by the name of Israel.
Yes.
Look how me and you look for get bomb, no? Take one beside.
Yes. And we don't want to say Israel as much as we want to say
the government,
the Netanyahu government of Israel, because in Israel there are many Israelis and Jews that are against that policy, and so we don't want to blanket all of them. There are good people out there.
But the Iranians have taken a bombing, nothing like they man try to block up everything that are country, everything of importance.
Yes.
So, and they are still standing up and they talk strong. In fact, Israel, they try to sabotage the peace process by continue to bomb Lebanon. You know they have taken 20 miles of the country, you know?
Why?
And then they run out people and they bomb there and so on and so forth. So the thing is that in our case, we are not Iranians. We know that at time in there. We know they stand up. Can I tell you something? One more critical thing. I said I'm disappointed at CARICOM. Many years I've always read, and I just archives. Not only have they totally abandoned Haiti and not raised the voice to it, the United Nations. The situation with the Cuban medical brigade to this country of Belize, just about all of us, including Belize, we don't tell them yes, we are sending them back home. Jamaica, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, he never want Trump, man, you know. I read about him a lot of times, so he there with Trump. He was fully trying to overthrow the government in Venezuela. And come with some bogus thing and so on, right? But so then don't hurry send back the people in. Now let me talk to you like one Creole to our next, right? Doctors and nurses are here. They're a big help to us in our country. We need doctors and nurses, especially because we cannot get the Ministry of Health to have a Wednesday night program where doctors and nutritionists and the people who are highly trained can come and tell us what foods are healthy, what foods are not. What happens to you when you drink alcohol over a long period of time? What happens to you when you smoke cigarette, when you smoke weed? People who know better. People who know better should be helping our people who do not know better. We don't know. We should, as much as you can, don't go into any supermarket. Don't be buy all the fancy looking, glittering, colorful things there in there. They are not healthy. They're not healthy. Your greatest wealth is your health.
Is your health.
And that is only one example. So let me just say this now to you all, right? Answering that question has to do with look at American television, American movies, American way of life, which has come down upon us like some plague out of the Bible. We were not able to withstand or understand what happened to we. You think like, look upon cocaine. Cocaine is one big thing where they use the Belize and you can't get the authorities to admit that we have a cocaine problem. No. Look upon crack. Man, I sat in the court and one lady. The police tell me that boy, he did on bad crack, he got cheap picnic and so on. She no business that they send her to jail. Don't send alcoholics and people who are affected by drugs into the prison. Let me pause and just tell you, all right, first of all, we should already have had a drug court. The government want to bring on gun court for lock up young black people. We should have a drug court. When you go to the court, Instead of going to jail, you're ordered to go into a rehab center to try to make you be able to overcome your addiction.
Yes. And we have to stop calling the Belize Central Prison a rehabilitation program.
It's not.
It is not.
Yes,
it is a freezer to hold you for a while, and then you go right back to the same
and you commit
behavior.
another crime and go back in again.
And
I'll tell you something.
Let's be honest and truthful about these things.
Let me talk about prison two things and come back to what we're trying to say. In a limited time, time is a thief. A man died in the prison very recently, from what we're told on the news, was asthma. That he's in there suffering from asthma, had a bad attack. By the time they try getting cars, they're not like, oh, the man did not be good. No, you have to dead it dead. You have to dead it dead.
Asthma no kill you right away.
90% done dead for the hurry put you on a vehicle and try to get the man done dead. Then reach a hospital alive. Yeah? That they happen. Like slave society, Rastafari. Like we're still slave with a nothing.
And we have a prison without a doctor. We don't have a qualified doctor. And you have over 1,000 persons there. That's the size of a village. And you don't have a qualified doctor. Not even one that visits once a day.
Yeah.
That's a travesty, man.
Of course, that's a crime, man. That's not a crime. These are the things that are important, you know. Let me say this right now, Nuri, Mohammed, and people who are listening to us. The PUP government, they do a lot of good things, you know. But we are not here to praise what a good thing, because then they get big pay if they do that. That's the way they get paid from. Nobody has forced them to go be no minister and all this and so. Do no job. They are doing a lot of good things, but there are also a lot of things which are not
left undone. Left undone.
And we have a responsibility, those of us who hear things.
And they need to stop feeling thin-skinned. It seems
criticism.
It seems to go with opposition as well as government, that the minute you know the praise, you're against. But when you're the praise, give me more, give me more, give me more. It don't work like that. If you're going to be praised for something good that you're doing, then you have to be critical. You have to be criticized for the things that you're not completing. That's the job. Is it true that George Price made the statement that if you can't take the heat in the kitchen, then get out?
Come out, yeah.
And he said that, right?
It's not originally from him, but he used to say.
But you see the idea. The concept is that you are there to do a particular job, and I'm glad that you're bringing up the salary. What's the salary now?
Just under 100,000.
All right, over.
But another 100,000 in allowances
and money to go into your constituency, man. You the float.
20,000 a month.
You the float. You the float.
They get
so
20,000.
You need to be criticized, and you should not feel no kind of way when somebody says.
But they will, because
you look like some part of you're still naked in that particular.
Let me come off the prison by saying this. First of all, Mr. Murillo has put in a lot of work at prison. Destroyed his health, trying to see if he could be of a help to that institution. The man whose name should be there are two men. Did you know that Jennifer Lovell was the superintendent of the prison?
Yes.
I mean, I said when they had a progressive minister, but I dare not say that.
I remember that minister too.
So, my point is this. John Woods, who is not from the Creole community, who never need to take on that kind of pressure, that man gave a lot of himself to try and make that place better.
Yeah.
And it is falling right back the way he didn't want
it. It should be a John Woods commemoration rather than a Colby, who we don't even know who that Colby.
Yeah, there was some Catholic saint. Anyway, but none of them can touch Bernard Adolphus.
No, boy.
Belizean to the bone for his whole life. Big respect to you, Mr. Adolphus, and to your wife who supported all the sacrifices.
Absolutely.
Listen, you know this more than me. That man single-handedly held the prison together with no resources, no support.
Absolutely.
Man,
and was
it should be named.
Right, left, and center.
I'm disappointed that Karim didn't rename that place the Bernard Adolphus Correction Center or Rehabilitation. That man really years without complaining. Talk about humility and discipline. Isn't he the biggest example in our community?
Absolutely, Bunny is that. Bunny is that.
I'm sorry,
and still has not cried for no kind of
he doesn't nothing. Gone about his duty. You, I mean, it's not for me to say, but you don't go and place up yonder in the pearly gates. So I wanted to mention this one other thing. Make us start off by saying,
well, you got a new minister there now, Minister Mira, and Bernard Adolphus is still alive. He has not gotten anything like a hero, none of that.
And he don't want it.
He's not looking for it. And a man who's searching for that should not be given that, because that means you're being given. But we should recognize these people who have made contributions to our society, man. Nobody may want that job when Bernard may do it. Nobody. And everybody up there, there's a whole generation of men who know that man by soup. Soup do this for me.
Big Bird.
Soup do this for me. So you're right, and I'm glad that you're driving it home. The present Minister Mira, the present CEO,
you're calling on him.
They should, in fact, bring that to cabinet. That look, it's not too late.
Yeah,
right?
show recognition.
You are giving this thing to Mr. Usher. No problem when we call it the Usher rehabilitation, because Mr. Usher had given some contribution there.
So Usher Ashcroft?
No.
A separate one?
Usher, yeah. They had this section of the prison for youths that was given by the name of, Mr. Usher.
The name of place?
But he was not involved in prison work. He was not involved. But he was a great contribution. I think he was Miss Jane's husband, right?
Eagles Usher.
So he did make a contribution in terms of civic, but Bernard Adolphus was there in the dirt, working with the prison when nobody wanted to touch the prison.
Yeah, when it was a dungeon where the museum inside, Musa turned.
And he, in fact, captained that move from Golane, Baptist, as we used to call it, up into Hattieville. He was there. He was the spare man pushing that entire process.
Which brings up this matter, Nuri. That is the role of NICH, the National Institute for History and Culture, to go and sit with Mr. Adolphus and record all his recollections and information and history and story of the jail that the British had, where the museum there right now is Central Bank there.
Right.
When Hubert Ellington, I think he is the one that did move it to a place where bigger and a little better, no?
Exactly.
So that's the kind of thing to preserve knowledge and information.
But you see, the preservation of these things here is being lost. And we need a whole program to talk about.
That's why we need the reparations committee, the information and education attached to our university.
Make your last point so we can take the break. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines.
Well, since I have a lot of things here, I'm not going to get them in. I wanted to quickly say, just before we move away from the topic, that America has pressured all of us to send back the Cubans. And so, are they giving us replacements? Is America saying, we know you need 12 doctors, we know you need 30 doctors, we will say no? How could we be so cold-hearted and callous? Don't care.
But listen, this woman that you talk about that we need to really honor, and she has not been given the honor she's due, but she's a brilliant. She come with the idea yesterday that in fact, we have the right as a sovereign nation to say that we would be in very bad shape if we were to expel all of these medical people out of the and this was her point, it is your policies, United States, in this region that put us in a situation where we had to be bringing in over 100,000 person refugees into this area, which created more villages in Belize with no medical facility until we had these Cuban doctors to be able to come. Now for you to pull these people out is tantamount to a crime. So she said that we should actually go to the United Nations. I mean, that's a brave move. We don't even think like that.
No, we don't
that's a
that.
brave
But we
move.
could have lobbied the Black Caucus in America.
We can do it. We can do it. Now look here, we've been talking about from the time that Jesse Jackson was there. We used to write articles and talk about when are we going to do something about this thing. Anyway, let's take the break. When we come back.
Another break?
When we come back, we'll open the phone line, and there's an impatient person calling here every 4 minutes. So we'll do that. We'll be back.
I'm very happy knowing I have a new home. Me and my kids have where to live. I've been renting with me and my kids. Me and the two kids live alone, and it's not been easy for me, moving from one house to our next house, trying to make the kids feel comfortable, because rent is not cheap, so we have to be moving. Sometimes the landowners, they don't like this, they don't like that, so we have to move out, and so it has not been easy for me and them. They have been very happy. They come with me on the Sundays, and we try to, clean a little bit. And the little one, she's excited. She wants to live in Bullet Tree. From the project started, Mom, when are we going to live in Bullet Tree? I tell her, soon.
I always say this is one of the pivotal projects that this government is involved with. And I know the personal struggles of this particular family. I know what they've been through, and I know what this house represents to them. We're giving them a house, but for them it's an opportunity. For them it's a home where these girls can rest at night in peace, This house is going to open so many doors for them, and it changes lives, it transforms lives, And so I'm really happy to be a part of this, and I hope that for the rest of the time that I'm an area representative, we can continue to deliver homes to needy families like this one.
We are in an area that we had to improve the infrastructure, which is quite our experience. Infrastructure does play a big part in what we have to do. It improves the lives of many other people, not just our recipients.
Thanks to Heavenly Father that He gave us this opportunity, and to Honorable Misha Shabat, and to housing, and everybody who put a helping hand in this to make this house possible. I'm very grateful.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Whether you are a busy person or stuck in traffic or having an adverse or very demanding circumstance, tension builds up, causing you to be stressed out. Stress attacks everyone, anytime, any age. And stress is a killer. It's best to be alive than dead. So visit Freetown Drugstore to get options to relieve stress and to relax your mind.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you today?
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, I'm saying I help you out right now. When I this daily, for 10 days, I am good after that, okay?
Okay.
Freetown Drugstore, 28 Freetown Road, where you are better off alive than dead. Freetown Drugstore, telephone 223-2876.
Welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Friday morning, and we are now opening up the phone lines to give you a chance to weigh in. We've had somebody who's calling regularly here. You can now call 280-5848. Our guest, as you know, is our brother, Dicky Bradley. Man, you're dropping out all kind of things. I do hope that you are given a kind of respect. You know, something that you talked about when you used to have the Wednesday night show, where it became very clear that there were a lot of government agencies operating without letting people know what they were doing. And I could remember, you may be one of many, but you were the one I remember saying, why on no got a PR officer in our ministry that speaks to the media? Now they got them. But they don't talk to the media.
Yeah, I just want that, bro.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, am I on the air?
You are on the air, sir.
Hi. Assalamu alaikum, brother Nuri.
Wa alaikum assalam, Dawood.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Dicky Bradley.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Brother Dicky, you haven't changed, man. Your features is the same from about 20, 30 years ago. I remember we staying up late at night, my wife and I, listening to your
Thanks.
Listening to your show, and your famous word was Carla, you're on the air. So, Brother Dicky, glad to see you. And I'm one of the old pioneers back in the day too, Brother Dicky and Brother Nuri, when Lester Norris, better known as Brother Jabbar, JCR, Mose, we was all young guys then, when we used to have to put aluminum foil on the fuse. Them time that the station was downstairs to stay on the air. So, you know, we came a long way.
Yeah.
But my reason for calling is in terms of the slave trade, Brother Dicky and Brother Nuri, you did mention that we don't want no money. And yes, I want to say we want money, because remember, apart from the physical removal of our people from Africa, the diamonds, gold, uranium, and all type of minerals was stolen from Africa and is in the vaults in the United States and Europe and elsewhere. So we want that money back too. Apart from, yes, they're gonna repay with education, they're gonna repay with even if repatriation, those of us who want to go back to Africa, but we want money also, because we are living in a capitalistic society that the world moves with money. The same as the Japanese is receiving financial compensation, the same as the Jews is receiving financial compensation from Germany. We want the money also. Now, in terms of the resolution that was passed by Ghana, the three countries, you never mention it, Brother Dicky, but the three countries that oppose it was the United States, Argentina, and Israel. And these three countries have a very bad repertoire in terms of the treatment of black people. There were so many hundreds of thousands of black people in Argentina, and they was placed on the forefront of the battle. And today, Argentina is one of the least populated countries in the southern hemisphere in as far as black people is concerned. They literally send them on the battlefield of our black brothers to get killed. That's what happened to black people in Argentina. Israel, when the Sudanese and when the Ethiopians go to Israel to work, you know, the Jews literally pass by their store and they spit on the Ethiopians and the Sudanese and tell them, black monkey, go back to Africa. This is the treatment that they do to our people presently in Israel. And of course, we don't want to talk about the United States. And to see that these three countries was the one who opposed that resolution.
All right.
Now, in terms of the Western Atlantic slave trade, we have to go to the East African slave trade too. And the Arabs, that is awash in money, they also have to repay for the hundreds of millions of Africans that was taken from East Africa to that area of the Middle East. And to the point, Brother Dicky and Brother Nuri, that the same way how we could trace our ancestors back and we are the survivors of the Africans that came to this part of the world, do you know that there is no survivors of the millions of Africans that was taken from East Africa to the Arabic Persian Gulf? The big question is, what happened to our people? Did they just massacre them? Did they left them in the desert? So we need to dig that up. We need to find that out. And they have to repay also. And lastly, you made mention, Brother Dicky, about the public servants. They have been doing over decades great, great work in Belize. I mean, you know, without, as you mentioned, without the public servants, the government would pretty much be dysfunctional. The problem is, though, Brother Dicky, with the partisan politics that is exercised in Belize, the public servants, they can't really exercise their duty to be unbiased, to be non-partisan when it comes to the general public. Sometimes I think that they really need to put that one side and, you know, deal with all Belizeans irrespective of politics, religion, etc., so we could be neutral to everybody. And lastly, government assets. I mean, they have sold off everything. And it is not the poor class of the people that is benefiting whenever these institutions like the airport, the seaport, etc. is sold off. It is the big money people that buy up these shares and they remain in control, and the poorer class of the people that need to benefit, they're not benefiting. Look at KHMH. If you don't have money now, you can't even go there and do a CAT scan. And right now they're looking to privatize the tax department. So you see the dire strait that we are in. But that is school for thought, Brother Dicky. Good to see you. Brother Nuri, good to see you. I appreciate the time. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, my brother.
Excellent call. Excellent call.
Yes, full of facts.
Yeah.
280-5848, 280-5848 if you have, you want to make your contribution this morning. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning, Nuri and Dicky. This is Sandra Coy.
Morning.
Welcome, sister.
First of all, I'd just like to make a couple corrections. The French Revolution followed the American Revolution. The theory of modern governmental structures, yes, the French philosophers had begun to play an important part in articulating that. And that is what would influence the thinkers of the American Revolution. But the American Revolution precedes the French Revolution. Now, the French formulated the first Declaration of the Rights of Man. And it is that declaration that was then included as, I think, the first amendment to the American Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And the French Revolution, because of the Declaration of Rights, they would then, at a point in the early part of the revolution, decide that everybody, all humans, black skin, white skin, pink skin, whatever, were humans, and that the Declaration of Human Rights applied to everybody, and the right to freedom was there for everybody. And so they issued a universal manumission, and then it would be Napoleon who would come along, and in fighting off all European countries who were seeking to eradicate the revolution from France. And it is Napoleon then who would reinstitute the slave order, and that is what would launch the massive Haitian Revolution. Now, I want to go to this resolution. I called in immediately after the resolution was passed and discussed it on air. I think I discussed a part of it on Nuri's program, and I think on Moses' program.
Thanks for doing that.
And now the vote was divided. There are 190 something countries in the UN, but not everybody was there. You had 3 negative votes, 50 or 52, I think it is, abstentions, and 123. 123? Which one was it?
123.
123, yeah.
No, man. How many voted yes?
123.
No. You had abstentions. The votes for the positive affirmative was 120 all. 25. You had votes in the affirmative, abstentions, and votes in the negative. Then people who didn't go there at all, they were not there present.
The recorded vote.
The record is there.
Yeah. The recorded vote is 123
in support.
Yes, 123 affirmative.
52 abstention, primarily Europeans, and 3 against. Yeah.
Now, when they read on the immediate moment preceding the vote, what was read did not say the greatest crime. It said a greatest crime. And I called in and argued with you, Nuri, that is not English. I don't know who formulated this resolution. Yeah. That is a resolution, Nuri and Dicky, that every country in the world where you have a population that applies to should have participated in this evaluation of that resolution that was going to be voted on their behalf. So, by not, look at what happened with the Bahraini resolution this week. They put up a resolution, and lo and behold, the Russians and the Chinese vetoed it, and France vetoed, 3 votes, 3 vetoes. Why? Because their argument was not, I don't know that they had a grammatical or a semantic structure. They had a semantic structure. They said, but you all are, this resolution turns the victim into the aggressor. And we cannot vote for we cannot support this because Iran is not the aggressor. Iran is the victim that has now become the defendant of its survival. So that was the position of the 3 vetoes. We don't take care, Nuri, in our language and the heat, especially when we go to the UN, for a matter like this. This was a major matter that needed meticulous and precise formulation. Because you already know there are certain who don't want it to go through. You already know that. So what? That's the first thing. Then they go there now, and right there, in that body that voted yes, you have Uganda building a statue to no less than the brother of Netanyahu. They don't mention that in the UN. Those 52 abstentions will never mention that. But they have that down in there. Their favorite word, calculus. Then, just prior to going to that vote, no less than CARICOM, the entire CARICOM, sits down with the U.S. to formulate a plan for security that's going to kill off our people because they are gangs and Cuban and everything. We know this. We went to that CARICOM meeting and genuflected to a new slave master. Then how in God's sake we're going to go there and ask that same new slave master to vote against it when we just subserved ourselves to them? We have to get our act together. We have to become mature, wise. On the eve of going to vote for that, then as though that were not bad enough, right there among that African brethren set, you have Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, I think. I'm not sure about that crowd. I think them too. Supporting Israel, which they don't want to be the 51st state of God. They call the 51st state of the United States. They are functioning like they are literally a state of the United States.
You know, Sandra,
the point I'm making is you can't go asking people to become moral when you talk moral but act immorally, man. This is the problem. Don't you see that problem there?
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I find it strange that you talk about Uganda. Uganda, as you know, had that issue there with Entebbe, which is way back when there was anyway, I won't go into the details of that. But Uganda not only is building a statue in honor of Nyaru's brother, but they're also saying if it's necessary, they will put troops on the ground. They will put troops on the ground to go support, yes.
So the point is you cannot, we are people, we don't understand standing on moral principles. We have our existence made us turned us into rats running around haggling for leftovers and we drop from the table. We have to change that. You cannot go, I can't come to you now who have been dreadfully immoral, but I am guilty. I was a participant in that morality, by the way, also, you know. And then now in my new life, I am also being a participant with you in a new immorality, and then they don't tell you nothing. The crowd knows, but they were abstained, and then worse now, it's the way you're structuring for them to agree to linguistically not correct, or the content not correct, or they're not going to tell you neither, Nuri and Dicky.
Yeah.
Only because of Russia, France, and China, we know that they buy anything out of order. We don't know that because the Americans didn't veto it. They veto everything, but they didn't veto that. So if we want, that's number one. Number two, this brother Jimmy just calling, yes, you have to look at the totality of African enslavement. It didn't begin in 1492. And by the way, where is the Roman Catholic Church in this affair? They didn't even have them there in the resolution. Because it is the papers, in order to make this reparation, declaration, whatever, hold water, you're going to have to call for a rescinding of the papal bull that was issued in the mid-1400s that then turned Africa, gave Europeans the right to enter Africa and do what they want with them. Let us put it that way.
Should they
You cannot leave in place anything that supports it while you get that, and they still have structures in place supporting it, or laws, or rules, or whatever declaration. Yes, that will be a comeback for the thing to
So Sandra, for them, since they pronounced the bull, should they also be responsible for paying reparation?
They have to rescind the bull. Because remember,
not only rescind the bull, not only rescind the bull, but also responsible, because the Vatican is one of the wealthiest treasurers in the world. Should they also be responsible for reparation?
Go to that point until you deal with the preliminary.
I understand. I'm understand, but I'm asking you, should we go that far after we've passed the preliminary? Should we go as far as to say to the Catholic institution, you also have a responsibility monetarily for that?
So now when you say to them, remember that wealth that they extracted from the slave labor is not floating out there somewhere. It was put into buildings, into universities. It has, that wealth helped to create that modernized European society, modernized American society. That wealth helped to create that. How are you going to get it back?
Well, the same way that the wealth.
What we end up with is the same situation we have with the climate change. When they go outside and say, yeah, we'll give this money, they give us what? Give them nothing.
Yeah.
Because use your brain. Look at the Iranians. This is an example now. The Iranians want neither supporting nor objecting. I'm just giving an example. The Iranians want the Americans out of the Middle East because they, in their opinion, the American presence contributes to Middle East lack of harmony. And they want Israel dealt with because before Israel appeared as a state, they didn't have this mess to deal with. They were dealing with European colonization and American colonization. But they were not dealing with the insertion of a bouncer for the European American imperial project, right? They were not dealing with that. So now they have Israel, whose insertion into the Middle East is totally disruptive. And it's showing its disruptive nature as we speak more and more. It's accelerating. So Iran says, guess what? We can't have you all here. You all are the problem. We have our own problem. I don't think any Iranian would say they had paradise and utopia before the Europeans arrived and Israel arrived. No Iranian would say that. But they recognize that in this century, so what do they say? They say, oh, you have to go. But just say that isn't enough, Nuri. So when the Americans and Israelis start the war, the Iranians say, well, okay, we're going to these bases are a problem. But then you have the Arabs telling us, well, they're not the big problem. But now we have no less than the British public in their research showing all the ways the British bases in the Middle East have contributed to it. So the Iranians say, oh, no, have to go. They attack the American bases, they attack the British, they attack the crowd, they try to figure out how to get attacked. All of them are allies of the wrongdoing.
Yeah. Sandra?
We don't do that, Nuri and Dicky.
Yeah.
We just stand up and scream. You don't be wrong, but you have to have a plan. You can't just call the senators to talk. There's an action. No, that's the problem. People in the world prepared to go for action.
Yeah, that's the big question. Thank you very much, Sandra. All right, we pretty much done the
There is a poem that comes to my mind when Sandra is challenging us that we need to go further than we are. There's a guy named W.H. Auden, A-U-D-E-N. He wrote a poem at the start of the Second World War. He named the poem, I think it's 29 September 1939. And there's a line in there which says that all I have is a voice to undo the folded lie. And you and I we're on a program in a small community. We are distracted in that we want to speak to our own ethnic group first, which has always been at the bottom of the economic and social ladder of this country. From generation to generation, our people have lived here and watched everybody else come and do better than us, pass us down, and so on. You know, like just a couple of weeks ago, the Mennonite community at Spanish Lookout had an expo, massively attended. They were offering 10% discount on all items in there, especially tools and parts, but everything they sell would be 10% cheaper. They just come here the other day, you know, where they are from before the Battle of St. George's Key. And the same thing applies to others. And we have just not been able to either produce. I think the previous caller made an important point that the public service has been contaminated by dishonesty and by the evil things and the negative things that party politics brings. Because one of the problems with trying to get a modern public service in a modern society is that an important thing is that the public service must be non-political. And one of the ways of ensuring that our public officers, our public servants who are to serve all of us, is that there's a procedure. I see a big full-page advertisement in a mandala for a manager of the MCA program. You see, there's a vacancy for a customs officer. That is controlled by the Public Services Commission, which is set up by the Constitution. There are defects in it because it has in the blue and the red, and right away that is a problem. But there is a procedure. You have to apply, you have to satisfy that you have a basic minimum educational ability. And other things, you must go to an interview where they could see you face to face, ask you questions and see how you perform and so on. That has been sidelined, sabotaged, because the politicians with the power that they have and that they're increasingly increasing their power, they imply people. Well, if you are UDP, you imply UDP followers and supporters who are their allegiance is not to this wonderful concept that we are to serve our people as best we can, regardless of their religion, their race, their creed, their whatever. That is an important principle. That is being sabotaged because those who are appointed to be members of the Public Services Commission have abandoned their important role that they are to ensure people are employed on merit. And you get promoted on merit. You go up and get studied on merit, but the political interference...
You're driving a principal point, Dicky, that we have left. Because I imagine around the time of permanent secretaries, etc., we were a little bit closer to that we are.
Yeah, these are career public officers. Yeah.
But look at the United States, who we used to use as a model.
My neighbor.
To say, look, if we undo it, let's do it like how the United States used to do it.
They have a different system. They have a different system. That's why they're in trouble now.
Yeah, but look at how they have abandoned that idea of having a public officer that is non-political. Now you got their attorney general must be political, appointed by the president. But
their system is a different system.
No, but the point I'm making is that the principle is there. The principle is
in America?
That you are, yes, that you are an elected officer. You're an elected officer, and the public service itself, I'm not talking about their cabinet. Their cabinet is appointed by the president.
Yeah.
But down, when you start getting down lower, these officers are supposed to be non-political.
Yes, and they're expected to be so.
You're supposed
and
to
they're
be.
held to that standard.
And we were supposed to be like that.
Well, we don't have it anymore.
Yeah,
let me end by saying this. Mr. our good guy.
Yes, that's right.
Mr. Bob
Mr.
has
Bob.
brought this to share with us. He has sat down. It takes a lot of time to be able to produce any kind of thing on paper. So big respect, Ernesto Bob,
Yes.
musician and now an author. And then none other than Darrell Carter, the indefatigable Darrell Carter, has produced a book. It's a jovial, remember, a little walk down memory lane and so on, but big respect to anybody who sit down and try to write a book.
Indeed.
I wish I could, but I can't.
Indeed.
And then let me also mention, before I forget this, let me, in my only way, I shouldn't be saying this even, but I want to welcome the new political officer at the United States Embassy.
What's his name?
Who's assigned to be? I'd have to go on the thing there.
Okay.
It's and then you know somebody has said no call no name.
Yes.
Next thing you hear with the calling anything that in a negative light, and it has to do with the Iran war and so on. But welcome to our country, Mom, and we wish that you will assist us to try and have a better country. In regards to the work that you are required to do for your government.
I would hope that they would come and get in the community more. I could remember maybe 30 or 40 years ago, they were much more involved, the community. No? Yeah.
Okay.
They now seem to only go to NGOs, etc., etc. But take, for example, my constituency. If you're dealing with the youth upon the street, used to be a time
they used to meet them too.
They used to say, yes, make we go out there and ride with you and deal with these guys. They don't do that anymore.
Okay.
And it's not only that constituency, but many other constituencies. They tend to go only to clustered areas. You know?
Let me skip to another. Let me change gear. There is an ongoing advertisement on our local media in which a gentleman claiming to be an employee or former employee at the State Department, a powerful ministry in America, is saying how Belize government, the FRO, you know, then they go and take one private thing and give it to another private person, and when they go on with them, don't they this, and then there are the words sanctions, and then you see the image of the ruler of the world, Donald John Trump. They're trying to invoke.
And they put Johnny Brasina there with my Cuban-looking cap.
And Raul Castro looking. It's a very serious ad.
It is
but it also raises a matter. The government was wrong to run and strong the island from Mr. Feinstein.
Absolutely.
And give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
That is immoral.
Yeah, and then to blame it on the courts instead of taking personal.
Hide behind the court. Speaking of the court, how could we leave here and not big up Jeremy Enriquez? I'm told. My wife told me that you had him as a guest, no?
A couple of weeks,
Man, by Jeremy, big respect to you because, like you know, the society with the INA, you mocked two political party guys, you mocked. But let me, sorry, I have to bring this in. Jeremy, you have gone through the procedure to ask that government tell us how much they pay to the government crony liars. In one case, you need to stretch that out and ask in all the cases and in all the works they did. Because this is how we are poor. We are poor because there are people that close to the two governments when they get in, and then they encourage you to go buy some old dam where they don't some place there, and so now they have to use money to try and make it better. Buy this old portal, you're gonna picture this up on one of them things. Man, by Jeremy, your work must continue.
Or BTL.
And the man with the whip in the hand is saying it's time that the show comes to an end. So you're my former neighbor, or we're still neighbors? Still neighbors. Let me end on this good note. There is a family, a police officer. I wish I could call his name, but then they can get in trouble. But he knows to make, I probably brought this up already, he knows to make belt, purses, holster for firearms, the strap with cone cross, the thing where you put your sergeant and corporal stripes on and so forth. And Kareem Musa, former minister for the police, had given him some jobs so he could make things. Why are we importing those things when there is a family in Orange Walk that can make it and are making it?
Indeed.
Cut off buying things abroad and make that family and train others so that we could do that? So I wanted to end with that note that there is something positive, people can do that. I'm sorry I didn't get into other matters. One day when you get me back, I'll bring the budget. People don't know how much it costs if you have one police force. People don't know how much it is to have an army. $70 million more than. Why we have an army, Nuri? Who we going to fight? Who we will defend against? Who? Can't be the Guatemalans. We don't have no helicopter, we don't have no plane. Lot of millions of dollars that can go to develop agriculture. and aquaculture, and more people can go to university.
But who has convinced us that we have an enemy that is not the Guatemalans?
The British thought it was a good idea for them to have a little enemy because like on B, you could at least sting somebody from everybody. That's all you could do. Yeah. So there are a lot of things we need to discuss. I want to thank you for having me here this morning.
Yes.
I want to big up Lions Den, the Casa de Leon, for one of my good friends who have built a fantastic resort in Hopkins. I wish I could give them the full credit, but it will draw attention.
Yes.
But Jeremy, big respect, my boy. We need more people like you who are prepared to challenge the system and be damned with what they want to say and try to do you.
The only way to stop Dicky is to stop him in his tracks, because this will go on, and he's got a list. But not only does he have a list, he has a pen that he keeps adding to his list as we go.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
We must break off. We thank you very much for being here, my brother. This is going to repeat itself because people benefit from you. Whenever I post this show after, I usually do it on the Facebook. It usually gets one of the largest amount of people going on my page to see what you had to say. So you're a value to the community.
I want to thank Sandra.
There's going to be a lot of people that will not like what you have to say, just like there's a lot of people that will not like what people say. That's not beliefs, that's human being. So we appreciate your being here, my brother. And I want to thank the people at the Morning Stew for giving us an extra few minutes to bleed into their show in order for us to complete this show.
Yes,
but we still have another break to take. We'll take that break now.
The Belize Tax Service has been serving the country well since its inception. But like many tax administration systems worldwide, it faces new challenges that require modern solutions. The Semi-Autonomous Revenue Authority, SARA, will be established by legislation that will modernize how Belize administers taxes. Countries across our region, Jamaica, Barbados, and Guyana, have undertaken similar efforts at modernization, and we're using their experiences, successes, and challenges to design a SARA specific to our tax landscape. SARA will operate under the Ministry of Finance with an advisory board comprised of experts in finance, tax, law, and public administration who will provide sound guidance while maintaining the required oversight of public funds. SARA will provide the framework for modernizing tax administration, improving the way we serve taxpayers, and supporting Belize's development. A semi-autonomous revenue authority, SARA, will create opportunities for improving human resource management, accelerating digital transformation that reduces turnaround time and paperwork, and providing more responsive customer service while maintaining strict accountability standards. SARA, a progressive tax administration for a modern Belize.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Explore the great outdoors with Benny's Quality and Savings.
Welcome back, and we have just enough time to thank Anthony Grant downstairs in the simulcast. Upstairs we had Miss Thompson as our MCO. We saw Brother Harlan hovering over like one of them birds, and of course we had Mr. Cliff. I want to thank our guest, Dicky Bradley. He's almost not a guest now. You kind of notice that I'm backing off and allowing this man to almost become our next host, which I don't mind. Because he doesn't come blank, he comes full of information, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, yes. You know, I don't want to get. See, you almost drew me into one of your kind of jokes. I don't bring that joke across. Okay. Belizian, stand strong, stand firm, do the right thing. For now, we gone.
Wake up, Billies, we gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Billies, voice so up and not play, so calling, baby. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show, my people. Billies, our hope, so to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, it's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. revolution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No respect on selfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obeyed. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB.